Perfect. Hey, everybody. Oh. Hey, everybody. This is Dave Whitmarsh, CEO of Whitmarsh Consulting Group, owner of Best Practice in HR. Today, I have a special guest, somebody that I've worked with for a while, Anisa Aven. Hi, Anisa. And
hey!
We're going to talk a bit about some of the things that we do, maybe even together, and then some of the things that Anisa has planned, and give you a bit of history about her. So, Anisa, why don't you tell us a bit about yourself, and we'll go from there.
Okay, just first, thank you. I'm honored to have the opportunity to chat and a little bit about myself. This is never my favorite portion of an interview. I love talking about other people's talents. I love finding solutions for other people's problems. A little bit about me. I'm the CEO and founder of Turnkey Coaching and Development Solutions. We are an employee development and leadership development firm. We have over 1,000 coaches, trainers, and organizational development experts around the globe. And we work with organizations in a consulting / systematic approach to help them design training, development, and employee development solutions that will drive business results. So that's what my firm does. And a little bit about me is I'm in this business because I feel like I make a little bit of a difference. I feel like the work that we do matters. I feel like I enjoy being able to show up, and I get to work from home, where used to be I had my kiddos and could attend their softball and their volleyball and take off from work when they were sick. And now that they're old and don't need me anymore, I get to tend to my dogs and cats.
and how did you find yourself in the space?
So, as with many people's careers who find themselves in something that they really enjoy, it's a winding path. And there's many parts of the story I could begin with, such as at birth, but we'll fast forward a little. And I think the pivotal moment was when my son, who is 21 now, he's a senior at Texas A&M, and he was an infant, about 6-7 months old. And I was working in the corporate space, and I'd always had businesses of my own, but for stability purposes, I'd gotten a job in the corporate arena, and I went into work after my maternity leave, and I just was bawling. And my new supervisor said, "Hey, what's going on? It's your first day." And I just came clean, and I said, "This isn't for me. I want my life to matter. No offense to the job, I appreciate it, but I need to do something that allows me to take care of my kiddos and be the single mom that I was, that allowed me to be at home, but also that captured my talents." And my talents were around problem solving and figuring out business, because I've been in business since my father was an entrepreneur. So I started in business and having a business mind when I was 10. I opened my first business. So if we look at how I landed in this space, it was out of a desperate need to do something different. And then over the process of 21 years of doing motivational speaking and leadership development and executive coaching, I ended up realizing what I'm really good at is finding others who do an even better job than I do, and connecting them with the right companies and the right leaders in order to create a solution that is unique, and a solution that Turnkey can provide objective oversight to. So many twists and turns along the way, but in the end, I feel like all of the pieces, and I know many leaders and entrepreneurs will say the same thing. They didn't know where their path was going to lead until they finally got there. And so all of the trouble and the challenges along the way led me to this very place of leadership development, working with companies, working in business on their strategic planning, etc.
Yeah, okay. It's funny. Anise and I have a bit of a connection story. So we had a phone call probably maybe 8 years ago, and I saw this huge opportunity in the network that she was putting together, and I guess and so when I went out on my own, I was trying to find her Couldn't recall. At the time, it wasn't a good fit for what we were doing, but I saw this great opportunity for Anisa and her organization. And so I was actually trying to talk to somebody, picking up some conversations from way back that ended up not being her. And then we stumbled across each other. And you had a similar story.
So the funny little piece of that, and people who understand intentionality or what we'll call conscious success, the power of our mind to create our reality. It's something that I aim to live by. When David and I met, I knew that there was something in our future. I don't know why I knew that. I was just like, David has got his business together. Eventually, we're going to figure out how to work together. And we'd only talked maybe 2 or 3 times. And like you said, wasn't a fit for our mutual interest at the time. I took a sticky note, and in my office closet, I have a poster. And on that poster, I just write future what ifs. And all I wrote for David was David Whitmarsh. So he has been on a sticky note for 6 years or 8 years before we finally started working together. And I don't know why I put it. I just know that eventually we would work together. So when he called and we started working together, I was able to take your sticky note and move it off my future face wall.
I'm glad I was pinned.
Right. You were pinned.
Right. So about your business though. So how is it that, like, what's your average customer, not dollar volume, but what do they look like? Because I know you have sort of a really flexible and unique opportunity with large organizations, local coaching. So why don't you tell us a bit about how you can help organizations?
So our model is really unique, and like you said, we aim to be flexible. We can flex in a number of ways to meet both the objectives of an initiative as well as the budgetary constraints. So part of our model originally started because as I was coaching, I went to a couple of conferences and I met a lot of really, really talented coaches and trainers who were not successful in business. And I remember hearing the speaker say, the good news is more companies are saying they're going to start using coaches. And this was probably 2002, 2001, 2003, something like that. And the bad news is that 85% of coaches never make over $20,000 a year. And after I picked myself up off my seat and looked around, I thought, then we really have no business being here because we technically can't afford to be here. And that was when the birth of Turnkey the idea began to foster. And one of my primary intentions was, wait a second, what we do really does make a difference. It makes a difference to the bottom line. It makes a difference to people's work-life quality. And I feel like we're contributing, frankly, to a better society. I think better leaders end up treating their people better. People that are treated better end up treating their families better. And so that was sort of my goal. But back to how the idea around our model began is I thought, okay, so what if coaching can get really expensive? We have coaches that charge $500 to $2,000 an hour. And I thought, that's fantastic. If you're able to fill your book of business that way, great. But the majority of coaches are not. And so we've gone out, we've negotiated with our coaches. Let us purchase your unbillable hours. You've got time on your calendar where you're not booking at $1,000 an hour, where you're not booking at $500 an hour. Negotiate with us. We'll pass that savings on to the client. We will create systems so that our clients have a single point of contact and guaranteed satisfaction and objective oversight. So instead of managing a team of coaches or a team of trainers, anytime a company needs an employee development initiative or a performance improvement coaching or an executive and coaching or a leadership development program or a HIPO program. They don't have to go out and source and vet and start all over every time they have an initiative, which is a lot of time and energy and resources and
right.
Game of roulette. They can come to us, we source them, they interview them. We've already negotiated a really, really fair and reasonable rate with our team. And then on top of it, they get the program management and the objective oversight. So on a goals side, I feel like I'm supporting our industry, my industry of coaching and training and development in becoming more stable. Our coaches don't have to end up getting a second job because we are purchasing their unbillable unbilled hours, and our companies, both small, medium, and large companies, are able to maximize their budgets. So does that answer that?
Yeah, it does. And the flexibility of what you do as well is you're not stuck in your own program.
That's right.
Right? So you have, multiple different leadership development programs that you can help people with. So if they just know they need something, it's not like they have to go to, DDI or LEHEC and get their cookie version of it. You guys can actually work with them, bring in the best program that fits what they're looking for.
I tell you, I will say that when we were building the foundation of the company, had I known how difficult it was going to be to do that, had I not been like, we're going to do this, I don't care what it takes, I may not have completed this model. But over the years, and now Turnkey was founded in 2004, so we're going on 14 years. So over the years, what we've developed because of that time, I feel like has been this scientific project of a hybrid approach. We have our off-the-shelf, proven, science-backed programs. And if someone comes in and says, I have $2,000, what can you do? We can say, here's our packaged approach. It will work. It's worked for these companies. We have references, we have case studies, and you don't have to do anything to customize it. We can fit your budget. And we've got a trainer that I've already negotiated with that will accommodate a nonprofit organization fee, et cetera, or a governmental agency's fees, or you can choose
Kansas, right?
In Kansas, yes, exactly.
Yeah. Or wherever, but it just, because you have that network, you can actually provide local representation to these programs.
So they cut down on those travel expenses. They cut down on the risk of not having the right fit after the fact, after you're already committed. And then we also really specialize, though. Most of our organizations are in the medium to large organizations. We have plenty of Fortune 10 and 100 companies that we work with, as well as our mom and pops and our medium-sized businesses. And we're able to take their budget and then customize an approach most of the time, which means we don't typically, while we can offer a cookie cutter approach if that's what the budget allows, most of the time we're able to do a more customized approach and still meet very restrictive budgets, which I love that. We've had consultants come in and say, hey, if you'll charge X for this piece of what you do, you can, your income on the bottom line would go up by X. I'm like, yeah, but that's not really my model. My model is I want to be a partnership with the organizations we work with. And if I'm switching it up and maximizing what I can charge next year when they're looking for a partner, they're going to go, man, Turnkey just keeps getting more expensive and more expensive. Let's shop around. It's not my goal. My goal is to be a year over year partner so that every initiative builds upon the last and they have a long-term outsourced partner that knows where did you start, where are you now, and where do you really want to go strategically so that the programs line up and meet the culture and meet where the company's going.
Gotcha. And so, when you look at some of the things that are on your personal roadmap, what sort of opportunities, other than sales, we're always looking for sales, right? But what sort of opportunities do you feel that would be helpful to grow your business down the road?
So this is a great question, and I thought a lot about it. Number one, we're always looking for really great organizational development experts, master trainers, and executive coaches. While we don't always have all of our coaches on assignment at a given time, there are ways I've discovered in certain regions of the country or the world where suddenly people are searching for coaches in Qatar, for example, right? And so over time, when we have our trainers and coaches locked and loaded and pre-vetted, checked their references, then we can grow in those areas as the need comes. The other thing that we're looking into is I really believe that we've done a few programs like this. because of the nature of matrix organizations and the nature of global organizations and virtual teams, the cost associated with flying teams into a location to do an old school training, not only does old school training not necessarily produce the results that an organization wants, because we humans are fickle and we can only remember about 20% of what you tell us or what we participate in, but the financial commitment to flying your people all over the world, let alone taking them out off the job. So more and more of really savvy trainers and training organizations like ours are looking at creative ways to do what the blended learning. And I think the blended learning is going to end up being a combination of, yes, we all need social activities and social engagement. So for some organizations, it's going to look like a half-day session in person at different locations. It's going to look like webinars. It's going to look like one-on-one coaching. It's going to look like teleclasses. It's going to look like e-learning modules. And those are the pieces that we are in the process of beginning to put together some leadership development programs that are built on the current competencies that organizations need to ensure that their leaders are addressing, from global thinking to systems thinking to the business acumen is one that I find so many organizations, what they used to call business acumen, no longer addresses their current or future trajectory. And so we're really having to think in terms of what are the current competencies that will suffice as Generation Z enters the marketplace. Okay, can you hear that noise in the background? Mm-hmm. That's my cat knocking at the door. Yeah. She's pretty consistent. Only when I'm on video, though.
You can actually see her a bit in the one panel. So.
I'm sorry.
That's all right.
So blended learning, e-learning webinars, and a combination that will accommodate cross-organizational teams and and global teams in a way that maximizes the budget, that gives them bite-sized pieces of learning and development, that engages them with their peers, a critical piece that is often left out of training and development, right, and is led by an organizational development or a master trainer that understands the Socratic method of learning and development.
Yeah, cool. Yeah. And at a very worst, right, that's great stuff to have, because if you do a full-on engagement with a company that has global national offices, then they can at least have archives of some of these things that they can go back to, right? So that they can, you talked about the learning only retaining 20%. Actually, in August, I have another favorite person that I'm interviewing, Emma Weber, who wrote a book on that. And so she's and I've worked with her a couple times in the past too, and so your model totally fits in with continuous learning, even though it's not new learning, it's just relearning, right? So cool.
I mean, if we think about it, why do we send our kids to school and they pretty much, let's take math for example, start in kindergarten and they spend 12 years, at least an hour a day, every day, going over the same things. And 5 years after graduating, most of us can't do algebra unless we pursued that in some portion. But we do know our times table, and we can do basic math, basic spreadsheets, etc. But we spend 12 years retaining that knowledge, mm-hmm. and there's a reason that repetition occurs. And in most organizations, leaders and employees are so busy in the operational aspect of what they do that learning becomes a back burner. And organizations that realize that humans are humans, and you can't just spend a bunch of money on a training session and expect your team to grow, your culture to change, for your workforce to be ready for the next challenge, or for the merger, or for going public, or whatever is next, going global, entering into Estonia, or whatever it is. Right. That organizations that are really effective at developing and preparing their pipeline know that yes, we have to have a standard, and yes, we're going to have training time, but we also have to have an internal methodology for reinforcing that learning. And typically that is going to look like some kind of blended learning initiative of all the different adult learning methodologies.
Very cool. And that's in progress.
Yes, yes. We actually have partnered with an organization that we have beta tested successfully 2 or 3. We're working on the 3rd program, and I'm super excited about the results. Very, very positive. The case studies so far are looking really good, and it includes exactly what we're talking about. Webinar time, where it's not just talking head, but it's interactivity, because the technology allows us to put people into breakout groups, followed along with an e-learning module and some accountability and some peer-to-peer mentoring and focus groups. So we are moving in the positive direction.
Wonderful. Good. Anything else about your future? Where are you going?
You know, the only thing that I don't have clarity on, but I've got a Post-it note in my office closet on, is greater opportunities to make a bigger contribution with the work that we do in our community. Whether that's we do work with some nonprofits, and we do offer great nonprofit discounts, but I'd like to see a more systematic approach to organizations that are making a difference. I'd like to eventually partner with an organization who also has the same vision, who can take some of our model, use some of our resources, and make it partner with organizations that could use employee development, leadership development, strategic planning, etc., in the pursuit of making a bigger impact on our planet. And so I do see that in our future. Like I said, I got a Post-it note, so I know it'll manifest.
It'll happen.
It'll happen.
You're the one with the truth of the Post-it note. So,
exactly.
All right. So I think we're all done. How do they get a hold of you, Anisa?
So a couple of ways. You can always reach us on our website, which is a secure website, https turnkeycoachingsolutions.com. Our office number is 281-469-4244, or you can always email me at leader@turnkeycoachingsolutions.com.
Yeah, or you can, depending on where this ends up socially, you can just reach out to me and I'll hook you guys up.
Yes, please do.
All right. Thanks, Anisa. You have yourself a great day.
Thanks, David. That was great. I appreciate it. Have a good day, everyone.
I know.